Have you ever thought about building a sit-to-stand desk but haven't quite found the one that fits your need? If you've spent hours online or in stores but are still looking for that perfect solution, then maybe, just maybe, the answer is to build your own. In this video, I'll show you how I did just that. I wanted a large sit-to-stand workstation, one with a natural wood look, to be both functional as well as to add an organic element to my home office, which also pulls double duty as my studio. After looking at available options, I decided that the DIY route would give me the most flexibility for the desk size and style that I wanted for my office. Now, the first thing to consider is the weight and the size of the desktop. I purchased a 36-inch by 72-inch butcher block countertop. From there, I sought out a base to match the top. Now, finding a sit-to-stand desk base is not too difficult. However, things that you'll want to look for include a base that can support the weight that you'll need, offer the height adjustment, both the high and the low enough adjustment for your work, and adequate stability, especially when it is at its full height. I chose the IKEA Idåsen base because it met all of these needs for my project. As far as the DIY build, the process was fairly straightforward. Once I had the desktop, I sanded it with 220 grit sandpaper and applied 3 coats of water-based acrylic in a clear matte finish. I selected this finish to protect the surface from spills and dirt while not taking away from the natural color of the birch wood. After this, I removed the Idasen base and parts from the 2 boxes that it arrived in. This was to ensure that I had all the parts and I was familiar with the general base assembly instructions. Next, I determined the width of the desk cross brace. Now, as you can see, it has several holes and it's adjustable to varying desktop widths. The specific base is designed to fit a top that's as narrow as 47¼ inches wide or as wide as 63 inches. However, I was confident in going a full 72 inches wide since the butcher block is thick enough that having the additional overhang would not create a concern for sagging or bowing when placing heavier items near the edge of the desk. After I joined the 3 cross brace pieces together, I attached the motorized riser legs. These legs were joined to the cross brace using 4 screws that were supplied with Loctite already in the threads. From there, I attached the desktop support brackets to the cross brace. When installing these, it is important to place them in the correct orientation with holes pointing towards the inside of the desk. If we try to do this in the other direction, then the angle in the bracket will interfere with the proper alignment of the screw holes, and the bracket will not fully sit against the underside of the desktop. Following this, I slid the feet onto the legs and attached with bolts that were supplied in the kit. And last, I screwed the leveling pads to the bottom of the base. At this point, I was ready to install the wiring harness. There are 3 wire types that come with this, 3 harnesses. One to connect the 2 motors together, a second to connect the power supply to the motor, and a third to connect the control panel for raising and lowering the desk. After these are plugged in, the desk base is fully assembled and ready to attach to the top. To position the base to the top, we place the desktop upside down on the floor. Now, if you don't have a carpeted surface, it is a good idea to put a rug or piece of cardboard under the top to avoid scratching the surface. Next, carefully lower the base to the top and turn it upside down. Double check that no wires are sticking out from the cross brace. Next, we will center the Idasen base by measuring all distances from the edge. In this case, the base was 7¼ inches from the side edges and 9½ inches from the front and back of the top. Once centering is complete, we can drill pilot holes for the screws. Before drilling, check the depth of the bit to make sure it will not go all the way through the top of the desk. Next, we're ready to screw the base in place. And since we're using a non-standard desktop for this base, we will need to supply our own screws and washers for this portion. For proper stability and safety, it is important to use 8 screws to fill the mounting holes in the base. It is also a good idea to leave the screws slightly loose until all 8 are in place to allow for final centering of the base to the top. The last step is to attach the control panel to the underside of the desk. Select which side you want this on and confirm that you're mounting it to the side that you want to be the front of the desk. I placed this paddle 12 inches from the side and set it back just far enough that the bend in the paddle was flush with the front of the desk. I also used a speed square before drilling pilot holes to be sure that I had it in the exact position for professional appearance once it was mounted. And with that, the new desk is complete. While it wasn't One of my selection factors, I do want to mention that the desk is also equipped for Bluetooth connectivity through the Linak phone app. This app is useful for height adjustments, including 3 programmable presets, as well as to send reminders to change position when sitting for long periods. While I did not purchase it for this feature, I tend to use the presets to remember the height for meetings or long periods of work. In all, I'm very happy with how this desk turned out and would recommend this simple desk build to anyone who is considering a customized sit-to-stand workstation. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful and informative, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe for more content. Thank you.